Hi everyone, Zach Boren here. Lettermen Live presented by Buyers. We're here at Buyers, the Audi dealership, here with my guy George Kauffman, and also, in my mind, the best quarterback in Ohio State history, JT Barrett. Thanks for joining us, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, you still in New Orleans? You've been with the Saints ever since you left Ohio State. Walk us a little bit through that and how the NFL journey's been so far.
Yeah, this is just a great opportunity for me, going undrafted and still being wanting to go places. And with that, I prayed about it for a little bit. It was kind of crazy how it happens right after the draft. Like you have approximately a little under an hour to really kind of figure out where you're going. You're going back and forth, having conversations with your agent, and they're talking to the teams and trying to figure everything all out. But I was fortunate to go down there to the Saints, be able to learn under Drew. I was on practice squad this past year, and it was just a great opportunity. And then they signed me back for this next year. So
it's awesome. Crazy, man. What people don't realize, I went through the same thing, right? Is that through the draft process, you're hoping your names get called at some point. I know I went golfing that morning with a couple buddies, trying to get your mind off of it. But you're talking through your agent throughout the day, and you always in the back of your mind have got 2 or 3 teams. You're like, hey, if my name doesn't get called, this is where I'm going to go, right? And the crazy thing is, I'm sure you experienced it a lot more than I do because you had a lot more talent than I did. But, teams will start calling you, 6th, 7th round. You're like, what's going on? Am I going to get drafted? But no, they're just like, hey, if things don't go as planned and if someone doesn't call your name, we really want you. And you're just sitting there you're trying to juggle all these things like you said. Yeah. It's about an hour, right? From the middle of the 7th round till just after where you're like, hey, I have to figure out where my future is going to be, where I'm going to be able to succeed. And it's just a crazy kind of hour to 90 minutes.
Yeah, it was, and that's how it was. Mine probably started beginning of the 6th round. It was teams calling me. It was we kind of know what we're going to do with our 6th and 7th round pick. So if you go and draft it, then we would like to come here. And it was a little recruiting thing, right after the draft. You get on the phone with some head coaches and assistant GMs, and it was just it's crazy that it's like I said, a little recruiting process, but it's a little under an hour, and then if you don't choose, it's just you know what I'm saying, it's whatever. So
it's crazy, but you bring up recruiting process, right? So that's post Ohio State, pre Ohio State, quarterback from Texas. What drew you to Ohio State?
And that was the thing. I really didn't know much about Ohio State. It was crazy. When I actually got an offer from Coach Meyer, it was my high school head coach, Jim Garfield. He was like, this is the Ohio State, right? And I'm looking at him nah, I'm not really aware.
What's that mean?
Yeah, I wasn't aware. But I think more than anything, it was the family and tradition here. I felt like we was going to win a lot of games. Fortunately, we did with Coach Meyer at the helm of things. And it was just, great people who are in the state of Ohio and that are associated with this university. And I want to be a part of that and also get a great education while doing so. So those are the things that definitely hit home for me. And this is my second.
Yeah. No doubt. You come from a great family. I had the experience to meet your parents this year on the Buckeye cruise, which we'll get into here shortly.
Yeah.
But you're going through this process. Obviously, you're tight with your family. You still are. What did they think about you leaving Texas, coming to Ohio State? Go through that, because for me, I'm from here, right? So I'm really tight with my family. My parents were able to be here. I know your parents traveled to a lot of games. They're always showing on TV, doing that thing. But how was that dynamic with moving away from home, moving away from the family, coming up here and kind of starting your own family?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think one of the things my mom told me, she was like, well, you pick 4 schools that you really care about, and with that, we'll go check them out. And that was really the unofficial, and now it's crazy, what schools are able to do now. But that was how it was back then. It was we'll go visit them and see how they are. And then with that, it was we're going to come see you. You don't have to feel like you have to stay close to home or anything like that. You go find a place that is going to fit best for you and what you think it is, because you actually got to go through that. You got to live there. You got to go take classes, be a part of the team. So with that, it was really left up to me. And I got some great advice from them and also some mentors I had back home. And so with that, and also praying about it, was one of the things where I felt like this was the place for me, and fortunately it worked out well.
Well, hopefully you feel like you made one of the best decisions of your life. it was funny. Us three are on the Buckeye cruise, you know, and so funny story about JT. We're sitting there at the autograph signing, right? And you always tell the young guys, hey, you know, you kind of give them a scoop of what the Buckeye cruise is like. It's like, hey, that very first morning we have an autograph signing, right?
Yeah.
It's probably the hardest thing you have to do because it's the earliest wake up call. You're sitting there, you know. You have a couple drinks here and there, you know, on the Buckeye cruise. So, you know, so we're sitting there, and I had the honor of sitting right behind this guy because it's kind of like a line. And this dude is sitting here signing, you know, 3 or 4 time, whatever it was, silver ball, you know, award winner, you know, a 5-time Big Ten champion, like all this stuff. Man, you obviously made the best decision in your life.
Yeah, for sure. And that was the thing that was crazy about it, was that was never like a goal. I think I fell in love with the process and how things were set up here, and you know, the family that we had with the Ohio State football team. Like, we're connected forever, being that we're Buckeyes. So that's why I fell in love with it. And then I was also just trying to succeed for us to win. So being with that came along those individual accolades, but that was never something that I tried to do. But man, you gave me a lot of crap for that too.
Come on, man, come on. Well, you know, it's supposed to be an hour time thing, and he's sitting there, right? It's like an hour and 45 minutes. I'm like, dude, come on, let's go. Like, tell him you can't inscribe all that stuff. It costs extra. No, I'm just giving a hard time. But so, you know, we do talk about all those awards, and you know, whenever us former players kind of get together, right, you always think back on the process of coming into college, and let's be honest, it's Ohio State, right? You already mentioned on that. There are so many great athletes and great football players coming to Ohio State, and everyone who has success here at Ohio State, whether you know you're a starter, whether it be you're a rotator, whatever it may be, there's always a certain time where something just clicks, right? When you come here as a freshman, things are going a little fast. I know for me it was. I had the privilege of starting as a true freshman. It was probably game like 8. We were playing at Penn State. Something just clicked, right? You have that game where you just succeed and you're like, I can do this, right? And then it's a confidence thing. So when did that happen for you? Because obviously it had to happen early.
Yeah, so, you know, I was kind of thrown on the fire a little bit, being how things went down at the beginning of that 2014 season. But it was like, you never forget it. It was at Maryland, 2014, and like a breakdown. So we were getting a certain coverage that we lost to Virginia Tech that we wasn't really
the bare front, man.
The bare front, but it was no deep or cover 0, so there wasn't no safety. They were blitzing everybody, and so we lost that game because we didn't have a really good plan for that. And then
I actually like to think it's because your center couldn't call the right pass protection.
Cole used to hook me up, but so that was the thing. So you know, after we lost that game, every team after that, you know, presented that to us, so we had to prepare for that. And you know, we got better as time went on, and I got better just recognizing and seeing it. But really, that game, it was like the film that I watched really like they had the, I guess you would say, just transformation. Like I saw it on the field, like it really was clicking for me. Like, oh, I saw him do this on film, and then I was able to speed up and play faster. And you know, it was just crazy because I literally remember like it was yesterday, like just the transition of watching it from sitting in the film room to on the field, and it was so much easier.
Yeah. I know from my perspective, being a former player, I didn't get to play with JT, but you know, as former players, you sit back now and you watch. You know, we all watch, right? And I just remember seeing what you were able to do on the field, thinking like, man, this dude doesn't get enough. You got enough credit from an award standpoint, but people, I think Buckeye Nation just didn't appreciate to the fullest what you were able to do. And so that, I think that's the thing that drives me crazy as a former player, is that it is so hard to be successful on the field, right? It's so hard to lead a team and win that many games, being at the helm of it for that long. I mean, it's crazy, right? Listen, you're the leader of Buyers Auto, right? A massive car dealership here. I mean, what was it like seeing him just lead the Buckeyes year in and year out? It's almost like it was a well-oiled machine year in and year out.
100%. Watching JT was one of, born and raised in Columbus, I bleed scarlet and gray. And growing up through the years, all the different players, like you mentioned, there's been so many great players that have come through Ohio State and played so well. But you mentioned it, and I think I've mentioned this to JT before. You talk to some of his teammates and coaching and staffing, it's always about character, leadership when they talk about JT.
Yep.
And you saw that on the field, the way the team responded around him. Just fun to watch. Some of those unbelievable passes, and the next play he's running off for 60, 70 yards. It's like, it was just exciting to see what he was going to do next. And there was always, my mom always says this, the JT smile. Like after a great play or something like that, even through the face pass and everything, you could see the JT smile. And it was just, and you said it as well about, it's so hard to be successful, but to be so successful consistently is even harder. And JT was absolutely that.
So let's get an honest opinion though, right? We keep it live, or we keep it real here on Lettermen Live.
Okay.
So you obviously, George went on to tell you what how successful you were on the field, and how hard that is to do. I know from a former player standpoint, I already told you, how hard it is to do.
Right.
Buckeye Nation fans, we all hear it, right? I heard it when I played. You can't throw the ball, but you go out and you make a pass that everyone's like, oh my God. Everyone says you're too slow, but you're running the ball 20 times a game and outrunning DBs, right? You're doing all these things and proving people wrong week in and week out. What was it like for you having to deal with it? Because you are the quarterback of Ohio State, and I think Dwayne Haskins just said it this past week, right? Until Baker Mayfield was quarterback of Cleveland Browns, the most popular athlete or the most popular football player in Ohio was the starting quarterback for Ohio State.
For sure.
Still
it
is.
was.
Come on.
It was. I don't know. It was real interesting because it happened to me so early. Like the Virginia Tech game, that was my second game I've ever played. You know what I'm saying? So I really got a good dose of it. It wasn't like I was having success and then, I had a bad game and everything went downhill from there and I didn't know how to handle it. So I saw how it was early, and I think there's somebody told me fan is short of fanatic, right? So that's part of how that comes along.
True.
Like, and then in our sport, people feel like, that they know more and they could tell you, certain things about this and that. And I mean, that's fine. I don't care, but that's fine.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't,
totally
do
hear,
anything for me. Like, if you tell me something, if you at me at Twitter or Instagram, like, and you say I can't do this, can't do that, like, that's cool. You feel that way. Like, that really doesn't do anything. Like, I don't lose any sleep. And I think that's how you have to function, just because otherwise you get caught up in that and you could have that really weigh on you. And I'm just one of the people where it's just like, it doesn't really bother me. Like, you could say how you feel, and
There's always going to be the negative Nellies, the 2%,
and that's
that
the
just no matter
thing.
what you do.
That's really what it is. Like
Couch, quarterback couch.
Always.
It's really like I guess you would say like a low percentage of actually Buckeye fans. Like a lot of Buckeye fans, when I come, like when they see me, it's all appreciation and love, and that's something that means a lot to me, just because I knew I put a lot into being here. Like the time spent and what we do, on our off days, just trying to be great here. I don't think that's really, I guess people really don't notice that because they're not really there. But when you get that appreciated from, true Buckeye fans, then it's all love. And so, like that underlining, 2% outliers of Buckeye fans that told me I couldn't do this or that, it really didn't bother me.
My favorite was when, right at kind of the height where all the Twitter trolls and those idiots were questioning whether
that's
JT
what we're
could
saying,
throw.
because Twitter became such a big thing when JT was starting quarterback.
For like 37 or 39. I mean, he just killed it. And I was like, what are you going to say now? Right. And all of a sudden it got real quiet. And I was like,
But see, that's the thing, and JT hit the nail on the head, is so many people don't realize how much time is spent at the Woody and how much time is spent in the film and just the work to be successful on the field, right? And so many people are so quick to have judgment. And, I asked that question because there's always pressure put on you when you're a player at Ohio State, a starter at Ohio State, but to be the quarterback of Ohio State is massive, right? And you have a bullseye on your back, and you could go out there and you win all the awards that you did, right? And lead teams to national championships and do all those things. But it's almost like nothing's ever good enough, right? So to some people, right? I'm not saying everyone, but to some people, and to have that target on your back, those some people to me was a small amount, but to you is much bigger. So I always wonder, like, hey, how do you deal with it? But I mean, like you said, man, you just let it go. You don't lose sleep over it. You do what you need to do.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. Like you start thinking about Twitter in a way, and in different situations, and outside of Twitter, like people's opinion matters, but you have to consider who that is. Like people that are close and dear to your heart, as far as family members, mentors, friends, other family. Like those people, like when they say something to you, you kind of take it to heart. You really think about what they actually said because you think their opinion matters, and it does matter to you, right? But when it's somebody that's in
wherever,
Kansas,
you have no idea.
I have no idea.
And my favorite is when their profile picture on Twitter is the egg still. Like there's no profile picture.
So that's the thing. Like your opinion doesn't matter. And we live in a world, I feel like, a little bit where people feel like their opinion does matter. It's just like that's okay to feel that way, but to me, if you say something negative to me, your opinion literally doesn't matter, and that's just how I feel.
So now you're in a unique situation of being gone and being in the NFL, but we all keep tabs on the Buckeyes. So what's your take on this year's team? What's obviously your take on Justin Fields coming in? Have you talked to him? Like have you given any advice? What's your take on all of that?
So it's definitely two different things, being here and then being away. That's for sure. But I think so. The thing about Coach Day was my position coach in 2017. So I have a lot of love and respect for Coach Day, and I feel like he has the capabilities and the qualities to be a great coach. So it was never like I feel like a lot of people had concerns about because Coach Meyer was on his way out, but Coach Day is, I feel like, a phenomenal coach and like really cares about his players.
I never even played for Coach Day, and I absolutely love him. Love him.
So that's how I feel about Coach Day. Then as far as Justin Fields, I don't really know him. I mean, he came this like beginning of January. So I haven't got a chance to talk to him here in Columbus for a little bit. Hopefully run into him and be able to talk and things like that. But I don't know. It seemed, I didn't know what he did at Georgia. I was almost like it was disconnected. Different parts of the United States. Sometimes you see people and sometimes you don't. But I think if we wanted him here at Ohio State, that was for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I think anybody that's part of Ohio State, even as a walk-on at Ohio State, like you have some skills. So with that, I think he's going to be fine. I think Coach Day is going to put our team in the best position to win.
Any predictions?
Predictions
on the spot.
Come on, man. We don't know where you have your back, man. You'll be down in New Orleans. I'll be down there partying for Mardi Gras, but you'll be down there practicing.
Bourbon Street Buckeyes.
Yeah. So predictions. I don't have any predictions. I know what our expectations are. The expectations are
they're always sky high, right?
Like every year, Coach Meyer would say, "You remember, we're Ohio State. We're supposed to win every game we play," and so that's the expectation. And I think we're gonna stay with that same mentality, and hopefully we're able to do so.
If you were to give Justin Fields one piece of advice coming in here, and he's not even the starter right now, right? But obviously, he's that guy that we already talked about, right? Buckeye Nation, the fans pump people up. He's got the bullseye on his back. What's the one piece of advice you would give him?
I would say, I don't know. I would feel like something that helped me was, realize the things that matter. So when I say that, it's like the things that matter is, school, being great for your team, not getting caught up in the extra things that may come along with being a quarterback at Ohio State, because, there's a lot of pressure, but put yourself in a position where you work hard, where you don't feel the pressure like when you go out there on the field. Like, I feel like that was my thing. Like, I heard Peyton Manning say, he was like, I only feel nervous and pressure when I'm not prepared. So a lot of times, Coach Meyer, we were so prepared, the most prepared team would win, right? He said that constantly. So with that, you put yourself and figure out the things that really matter and not get caught up with the things that could come along with being a quarterback. And at the end of the day, if you do that and you work hard, you're going to be successful.
What are your predictions, man? You always have a prediction about something. What are your predictions?
Undefeated national championship. It's the Buckeyes.
Perfect.
Come on.
I told you the expectations.
See, there you go, man. There you go. Those are the expectations.
What do you want me to say?
For sure. Well, hey, I'm going to wrap up with this. I've played 4 years here. I've played with a lot of guys. You played with a lot of guys as well. I know there's a lot of different personalities. There's a lot of alpha dogs. There's a lot of different things that happen in the locker room, right? Sometimes personalities, attitudes get in the way. This is what I don't think Buckeye Nation knows, that whoever watches this, which a lot of people do, but I'm gonna let them know, is that I have talked to a lot of people who played with you. I've talked to a lot of former players that have been around you. I've talked to coaches who coach you and have been around. From a personality standpoint, and I'm not pumping you up because you're here, no one has ever said anything bad about you. Everyone talks about how great of a leader you are. Everyone talks about how selfless you are. And at Ohio State, I know some guys that when you're in certain positions, it's hard to not let your head blow up. It's hard to not put yourself on this platform when everyone else is down here. So as a former player, and as a former captain of Ohio State, with you being one as well, man, I appreciate everything you did for Ohio State. You don't get enough credit for everything that you did on the field, for everything you did in the locker room, for everything you did in the offseason. Your parents should be proud. I told them that on the Buckeye Cruise. Buckeye Nation should be proud, dude. And here's the other thing. You said Columbus, Ohio is your second home. There's a reason, because people who come to Ohio State, if you do it the right way and you're a player here and you perform and you treat people the way they should be treated, which you have done, man, the sky's the limit for you here, you know? And so just so you know, I'm a resident now. He's a resident. If you ever need anything, man, we're here for you. And you did things the right way. And it's hard to do that in the position that you were in and the accolades that you got. So thank you.
I appreciate that. It means a lot. Somebody told me, as a leader, you're supposed to be selfless. You're people of service. And so I try to do that. My parents taught me how to do that. And I was just trying to do my best for the Buckeyes. And on the way, I met a lot of great people and was fortunate to do a lot of great things. And I just appreciate it so much.
Of course, man. Well, hey, this is Zach Boren, JT Barrett, George Kauffman here on Lettermen Live, presented by Buyers Auto. We'll see you next time, and hopefully after the show I can get an invite to dinner tonight. But hey,
Go Bucks.
We'll figure it out. Go Bucks.